So a question I get a lot is, should I buy the a6000 in 2019? It came out in 2014. It's really old. Should I buy it? And the answer to that question is yes, you should buy it. Okay, that's the video. Bye guys. Okay, that's not the video. I lied a little bit. What's up, internet? My name is Kyle, back with another episode about cameras, tech, and all that good stuff. Today, we're gonna talk about the almost 5 years old Sony a6000 and why it's a camera that people buy in 2019, 2018. It was a bestseller in 2018 on Amazon. It's still in Best Buy to this very day in 2019. And it's gonna hit its 5-year birthday in February of this year. So I'm gonna point out a couple reasons why it's still a good purchase in this year, and let's get started. Okay, number one is the Sony E-mount ecosystem. And what I mean by that is that any lens that I have for my Sony a6000 or for my girlfriend's Sony a6000, we can use those lenses on other E-mount cameras from Sony. So let's just say we were to upgrade to the greatly reviewed and really popular Sony a7 III full frame camera. All of our lenses that we own right now on our a6000s also work on the Sony a7 III. For a lot of people, that's a huge deal to have a bunch of lenses on a camera, to upgrade and then use those same lenses so you don't have to purchase a bunch of new lenses. You definitely can, and you probably want to in the future, but the APS-C Sony E-mount lenses that we have also work on full frame E-mount cameras. We talked about this a little bit before in another video, and it's just a really great kind of ecosystem, like I said, where you can switch lenses from camera to camera. It could be a $2,000 camera, it could be a $3,500 Sony A9. You can still use these lenses on that camera. So it's a really good kind of starting point camera to get, the a6000, and then once you upgrade later, or if you even think you're gonna upgrade later, you're kind of already in this family of cameras and lenses. Number two is the autofocus system. So right now, I have the a6000, I believe, on the middle drive mode. So it's kind of like a slower focusing. I mean, it's not super slow. Now, a big selling point for the a6000 back in 2014, and even now, 5 years later, is just how fast and how smooth the autofocus system really is. Right now, I have it on like the middle speed. You can go super fast, middle, or you can go fast, middle, or slow for autofocus drive speed. So I could speed this focus up, or I could even slow it down a little further. As you see, it's a very smooth transition from my hand or say an object to then going back to my face. I also have face detection off. This camera offers that, as well as face registration. So yeah, the autofocus system on this almost 5-year-old camera is really sophisticated and it's well trusted. A lot of beginners, which this camera may be directed at more, want autofocus. They don't want to have manual focus and have to mess with that. They just want to have the focus do its own thing and then take the shot or do the video. And this camera offers great autofocus, especially for the price. Okay, another reason why this camera is a good buy in 2019 is that lenses are still coming out for the a6000 line of cameras. Now, a lot of people would be like, oh no, Sony lenses are super expensive, and also Sony themselves don't come out with APS-C lenses that often. However, that's where Sigma and third parties come in. So what Sony's done is they've allowed other manufacturers like Sigma make lenses for the a6000 and the other APS-C cameras that they have, and kind of continue the growth without them having to do anything. It's actually pretty smart. So just recently, Sigma made a 56mm f1.4, which kind of completed their trio of lenses that they've made for the a6000 line. They have a 16mm f1.4, which I'm actually shooting this video on right now. They have a 30mm f1.4, and they have a 56mm f1.4. And they made those all for the Sony E-mount cameras. So really that kind of breathed new life into the Sony a6000, which is really cool to see. And all three of those lenses that I mentioned have been reviewed by everybody on YouTube pretty much. I actually posted a video about the Sigma 16mm f1.4, and I love it. And a lot of reviewers love all three of the lenses. So they're highly recommended, and they kind of just expanded the repertoire of lenses that you can get for the a6000, and it's really cool that those lenses are being made for this camera and similar cameras in the year 2019. So if you think this camera isn't being supported, it may not be being supported directly by Sony in a way, but it's being supported in other ways. Okay, and the last kind of broad reason is that this tiny little camera has a lot of features packed in. I've kind of said this before in other videos, but it's just hard to shy away from. This is such a small package, but it gives you so much. And it's just really impressive that it does that being 5 years old. This camera has similarities with its bigger or newer brothers, the 6300 and 6500. Both of those cameras came out in 2016. This camera is 2 years older than those, but it shares things like 11 frames per second shooting, less autofocus points, but still the same super fast speed. All three of the cameras have 24 megapixels, same max resolution, and the same image processor. Now, the a6000 may be the oldest of the three 6000 line cameras, but it's probably my first to recommend to a photographer. The viewfinder and the body of the cameras, like the toughness, are better on the 6300 and 6500, but the a6000 is just, it's more geared towards photography. It has less video features than the newer ones, but still, it's just such an easy camera to recommend even 5 years after its birth. So those are some of the reasons why this is a good buy in 2019. Obviously, if you need something like a microphone port, this is not the camera for you. It doesn't have one. Also, if you're looking to buy a new camera and you're not sure if Sony's coming out with a new camera, well, the rumors all over the place is that they're coming out with possibly a a7000, which is gonna be probably over $1,000. It's gonna be sort of like a professional an APS-C camera. So it's probably gonna have more features than the 6500, but it's also going to cost more. So right now, as far as a beginner, budget, awesome camera in the Sony ecosystem, you really can't beat the a6000. And as far as other mirrorless cameras, I would even venture to say this is the beginner camera in APS-C mirrorless cameras. I got a link in the description for this camera. If you guys purchase it through that link, I get a kickback. Thank you guys. If you do that, that means a lot to me. It's a lot of support, and it doesn't cost you guys anything extra. Also, I have a link down in the description of a DP review comparison to a couple other cameras. The cameras I compared it to were the Canon M50, Fujifilm X-A5, Nikon D5600, and the Canon SL2. I get a lot of questions about those cameras compared to the a6000. DP review allows you to kind of compare them with columns right next to each other, and I figured I would just throw the link down there so you guys can check it out for yourself. So that's basically it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was a little informative for you. Let me know what other videos you guys want me to make. In 2019, I am super pumped to kind of get back at it after the holidays. I'm sick right now. Not sure if you guys can tell, but yeah, really excited about this year. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Later.